guys, welcome to the channel of love. Okay, I've just heard a couple of sounds that were the same sounds. It sounds like a balloon that was being let down. It's like that doesn't even sound like a balloon being deflated, but I don't know where it's coming from or where it came from. Okay. The energy of deflating a balloon, as if like you compressing, suppressing so much, like you just want to go. There it is again. It's like this squeaking sound. And relax. Hi guys, welcome to the channel of love. It's probably about 6-7 minutes past 11 now. Let's have a look at some cards. Archangel Power Tarot. I feel like sticking with this deck of cards. Nice clean slate. We'll read from the book today. Okay. 3 cards. Or do you want 4? We can go with 4 cards. I've just taken to like 4 and 4. Let's pull 4 cards. Wow. Okay. Do you remember yesterday's reading? Well, there's a masculine here who's looking for a solution. I still feel he's looking, okay, for a way out. And he's looking at that he's looking for divine guidance. It's like he's getting it from the divine, but he wants clarification from the divine feminine. Okay, let's have a look at these cards. Solutions. Archangel Zadkiel. Success that comes from objective compromise, self-control and patience, forgiving and healing energy. This masculine's received, this is temperance. This masculine has received forgiving and healing energy. Self-control and patience. So he wants things like to be moving along quickly now. So what I can see from this picture is this archangel obviously blending these cups here. Yes, goblets if you want to call them that. But it's like the goblet of fire. You put your name into it and do you get to play? It depends whether or not the goblet throws your name out. Okay. So I feel like this masculine, okay, wants to play now. He's been chosen. Now temperance, you have to get into this state of balance before you're allowed to, I was going to say go up the path, but I feel like there's an archway behind him that you get to pass now, like your flame's right there. Is that your flame or is that the divine feminine? Because I felt like it was just so close. You just need to be patient. A patient tells me, it takes me to like, not being bedridden. Although you can see here now, why I said that I felt like he was looking for a solution, guidance from the divine feminine, because I felt yesterday in all the pictures that her wings were like an owl. And that's what I feel here is through the window. What was my daughter singing the other day and I giggled at her? And I think that's what she was singing. Tiptoe through the window. And I'm like, darling, it's tulips. Tiptoe through the window. So is this masculine just hoping that he can kind of tiptoe through to the other side? Look, how is this going to go? What direction should he go in? Because there's this energy of this masculine not knowing what to do. So kind of stating, I don't know what to do. Well, does that mean that you want guidance then? Do you want somebody else like to direct you? So I feel like he wants direction because he really doesn't know what to do. Nine of Michael. Your worry is unnecessary. Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, or worry to your angels. So I'd say that this is actual guidance coming from the Divine Feminine, seeing as she, and the Divine. Because I feel this is like the Divine guidance, and then we have the Feminine here. And I feel the guidance is, focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, or worry to your angels. There's a scared energy coming through. It's like that he's scared. Divine guidance is next. The Hierophant, Archangel Sandalphon. And what's interesting is Sandalphon and Metatron were humans, human men. And they gave their service so well. I want to say to their spiritual beliefs, that when they ascended, made their transition, they became archangels. So they know what it's like to walk on this earth. Divine guidance, the search for meaning in life. Consider an alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. And I believe you could be the wisest person he knows. Divine Feminine. So it's like this masculine wants guidance, and he's been sent that, but kind of like through an earth angel, the Divine Feminine. Now we have the Seven of Ariel here. This card came out yesterday. We spoke about this kind of being an energy that was going to kind of go her own way. And he's got this crystal wand here. And I felt like it was going to lead him to the Yellow Brick Road. I suppose it's just like the Scarecrow. And the Tin Man. And the Cowardly Lion that needed Dorothy's reassurance. I'm very aware that Donald Duck is very grumpy on the other side of this cup. Just trying not to show you. So I feel we have a very grumpy masculine here who's trying not to show you that he's grumpy and impatient. Seven of Ariel, you have invested wisely. Have patience and wait for the harvest. Review your progress and make plans for your next endeavour. Okay. Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. We'll find out more. We were going to read, wasn't we, from the book? I'm just going to read the bottom of the deck from the book. Queen of Ariel. The Divine Feminine's energy. It's like she's created this luxurious buffet for you to come and explore. Mature, practical, generous, and happy. The Queen of Pentacles here. What's interesting is this energy still lingering around. Because you've got the Divine Feminine here. She looks like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And you have this other feminine here, but she's kind of like, if you were going to go through like the archway, she's on the other side. So it's like she's not really invited to this feast. She looks like a Barbie doll here. I don't know, it just looks like she's plastic. Plastic. Okay. Right then. So we're in this garden, which we kind of ended yesterday with the gates being like blown open. They're open. The gates are open. What's on the other side? Can it be trusted? Oh, look how I've just put this down here. So 2 pink cards But it's how like this masculine, although when I look at him like from this angle, he's looking at me, but from afar you'd think that maybe he's looking to the side. There is this energy of actually, you know, being here, on the side. On the side. She'll be on the side, okay. Let's read about the Queen of Ariel. Mature, practical, generous, happy, nurture yourself and those you love. The ability to make anything more beautiful, practical and wise advice. The ability to make anything more beautiful. So there's no need to fear, is there? It's like there's no need to fear because love is here. And it's like love is here for this divine masculine and he knows it. I feel the energy of it starting to show. Queen of Ariel. I knew that this was like towards the back of the book because I know that the last character is the King of Ariel, the King of Pentacles. Situations. Nurture yourself and those you love. There is a need for quality time with the people you care about the most. Practical and wise advice should be freely offered or accepted. You may see the truth clearly when those around you don't. You excel at taking care of others, but don't forget to take care of yourself. You have the gift of being able to make anything more beautiful. Okay, so what was coming through was with the connection with the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Like, not now, but like earlier on this morning, yesterday, I was picking up on it. The reason we're here is to love and be loved. So that's what this connection is really. You have the ability to love, to do and be in the company of what you love, but also for you to be able to receive that back from the other. Someone's knocking at the door. People. A person who is giving and generous, but I feel this is more about, yes, it's easy to give love, but until you really truly love yourself, how on earth can anyone else love you? Because you're never going to believe it or accept it, but you are lovable. Okay. People, a person who is giving and generous, someone who always knows the right thing to do and helps out happily. An admirer of luxurious items, mature, practical, warm and kind. The additional meanings of this card, the balance between function and beauty, a big heart and a talented gardener. So when it says a talented gardener here, because it feels like he's like leaving this garden, but where's he off to? It's like, well, he's going to be able to create that himself because he is it's like he's hopefully she'll get the hints that because I cut her off that I'm live. Let's go to the Divine Feminine Oracle cards. It's like, what version of the Divine Feminine are we tapping into? It's like because she has many faces and many talents, and the energy of how may I assist, how may I serve. So what are we requiring from the Divine Feminine? Laugh out loud. Sorry, that's my daughter. It's not a problem, darling. Is it anything that you can tell me on here? We've got Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. Okay, so we're calling on this Divine Feminine energy. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. Yes, do we have tomatoes? Are you serious? Do you want me to go downstairs and check, darling? I'll go downstairs and check, honey. Is that a tomato? Okay. Anything else then? I'll just give you time to respond. No, it's all good, but thank you anyway. I'll go and check on the tomatoes for him. Okay, Emily. I reckon it comes in perfectly. We've got 2 large ones on the vine. Ripened on the vine, it says. We've got 2 of those, sweetie. Nice and juicy. Ready to be picked off of the vine. Ready to be picked by the divine. Okay, darling, I'll see you when you get home. You're coming home soon. Awesome. I imagine that's another synchronization as well. Okay, alright then, sweetie. I'll see you when you get home. Mary Magdalene. So interesting, look. Oh, my heart's beating really fast. Mary Magdalene. Jesus is, they say, his favourite disciple, and it was Mary Magdalene. But it's like it was his divine love, his divine soulmate, his twin flame. Mary Magdalene, she is the apostle to the apostles. That's what we're tapping into. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I'm fully human and fully divine. Interesting, I spoke about Sandalphon and Metatron, being fully human and fully divine. Let's find out where Mary is in the book. Number 1. Of course she is. Who she is. Mary Magdalene embodies the capacity we all have to merge with the soul and receive divine guidance through a love that never ends. Unconditional love that's experienced between the divine feminine, divine masculine, divine guidance. So Mary Magdalene embodies the capacity we all have to merge with the soul and receive divine guidance through a love that never ends. Mary was born in the 1st century in Magdala, Israel. She was the first to witness the resurrection, and for this reason is revered in Christianity as the apostle to the apostles. It's the energy of I'll be home soon. She was the first to witness the resurrection, and for this reason is revered, I think that's how you pronounce that word, in Christianity as the apostle to the apostles. In the meaning of Mary Magdalene, author, are you serious with me, and Episcopal priest Cynthia Borgegault relates that the Gospels of Thomas, Philip, and Mary Magdalene all reveal Mary not only as Jesus' beloved companion, and then there's a word here, koinonos, which is spelled K-O-I-N-O-N-O-S. The Gospels of Thomas, Philip, and Mary Magdalene all reveal Mary not only as Jesus' beloved companion, koinonos, but also as an equal partner in teaching and transmission. Borgegault believes that Mary Magdalene's Gospel contains a secret teaching that Christ gave to Mary so that she could pass through the 7 stages to reach the soul, or the nous, N-O-U-S, which is the highest point of the soul, and it is this union with her soul that allows Mary to see the risen Christ. In classic iconography, Mary Magdalene is associated with an egg and the colour red because of the Eastern Orthodox legend. It says that she used an egg to teach the court of Tiberius Caesar about resurrection. Caesar doubted her and responded that a person could no more rise from the dead than the egg in her hand turned red. The egg turned red immediately. Legends relate that Mary then travelled to the south of France to escape persecution and to continue her ministry. It is believed that she lived the last 30 years of her life in the caves of Saint Baume. There she met with Christ, with a love that inhabits the human heart, but that lives on beyond it. So when your soul selects her card, Mary Magdalene represents the fierce, unwavering love that we all have access to within our own vulnerable hearts. It's a love that renders all things sacred, from the animals to the angels, from the poorest to the most powerful. It's a love that sees the inherent worth of all things, and it's a love that remains, even through the darkest times, even through death. Her love is the one that resurrects. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene relates that Jesus came to unite us, to demonstrate to us a true human being, an anthropos, meaning a person who is both fully human and fully divine. This is what Mary became, and it's why she was so beloved to Jesus. She didn't seek to follow him, she sought instead to become her true self. Wow. Mary Magdalene reminds us that we have the power to receive vision from within. We are worthy of such proximity to the divine because that's the other half of what it means to be truly human. She reminds us that there's a bridge between heaven and earth, and that we are that bridge. And she wants us to remember that the truest church we can ever enter is in the heart. This is where our true power rests and where love never ends. Soul Voice Meditation, where has my love not yet reached? And the intention, I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I'm fully human and fully divine. Okay, let's carry on. 2222 on the clock. Let's go to some Lovers Oracle messages. Okay, this card wants to be seen. Romance, Cupid, Arrow Strikes. I grabbed this deck because I kind of saw this message in my mind come out. It was like I felt the energy of this card coming out. Cupid, Arrow Strikes. Well, it must be love. Criticising one another will only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. Okay, we're looking for guidance. I know that. Forgiveness. Stop focusing your energy on past events, for life is too precious to waste. You create your reality by what you think, dream, and imagine. So stop focusing your energy on past events, for life is too precious to waste. You create your reality by what you think, dream, and imagine. Did I pick up? I was going to read from a book. Secret Admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. It's still trying to do like a cover-up job, but it's wanting to be released. The journey of love. About 4 o'clock yesterday, I was extremely emotional, like crying, and just came over me. Maybe about 4 o'clock. After 4 o'clock it was anyway. And it lasted for, I could just cry at the simplest of things, like music. And that's it really. It was like, I just want to cry. I don't think I could stop the crying even if I wanted to. There was a release that was going on. Dream a little. Card number 51. Okay, so you've had quite a few mentions about dreaming. You create your reality by what you think, dream, and imagine. What did it say here? Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Dream a little. Card number 51. The divine wants to bless you with inspiration, just as a lover will come to the door of the beloved with a spontaneous gift of flowers. So dream a little. Let your imagination wander and wonder. What if? What else could be? Breaking down the rigid walls of expectation. Just because something has been does not indicate that it must continue in the same way. So dream a little and receive your spiritual gift. This oracle brings you guidance. A spiritual gift of inspiration is on its way or has just recently been received. It isn't flight of fancy. It's a gift from the divine. Receive it and believe in new possibilities. Okay, let's read the poem. From unexpected meetings, we talked and shared our lifetime, a gentle, peaceful time reflected in our smile. We winged our way to distant places and walked along remembered faces of lives we knew we lived some time before. And like a bud about to flower, having reached its appointed hour, we watch ourselves begin to open in the warm touch of spring. That's beautiful. I don't think I'm going to go and get a book. I think I've left it for a reason. Let's just see what the Rumi message is first. The energy that's coming through is because I felt like I was going to get a book, and then I felt like I'll be touching on the topic of children again, and then I felt that was a bit too heavy to deal with, so we won't read from the book today. And then I sat down and then thought that I was meant to be reading from the book, but I feel the energy of just wanting to focus on this, not wanting to focus on like any other things that are distracting. It's just I actually want to put my focus on this, so let's not read from a book and it's like drag out something else at the moment. Let's just deal with, I don't know, one thing at a time. There's a card. Divine discontent. I just feel like it'll be a bit too much to hear. It will take you off track. Divine discontent. Card number 12. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? And this one speaks about like springtime. What was the poem again? I want to just read that last part of the poem. And like a bud about to flower, it spoke about the gardener and the flowers. Having reached its appointed hour, we watch ourselves begin to open in the warm touch of spring. It says, winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears, allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free. Rumi. I know your heart, I hear it breaking and groaning in darkest night when you imagine yourself to be silently cast adrift in sleep. It speaks to me, that sacred heart of yours, whispering its longing and bemoaning its divine discontent. It knows when something is amiss. It senses that something is not quite right as yet. There is a piece of the puzzle missing. Even in its tremendous gratitude for all that is, and there is much gratitude and sweet appreciation in that precious heart of yours, there is a murmuring, a questing. It cries out to heaven, vouchsafe me a blessing. I cannot go on. I am broken and in need of your tenderness for healing. I am empty and in need of filling, not with stuff and bits, but with the most precious nectar of divine fulfillment. Nothing else will satisfy me. Please, please restore me to wholeness. I can bear this missing piece, this broken disarray no longer. I listen, and I cajole that wise heart of yours. I praise it for its honesty and longing, for the longing is an irresistible perfume to the beloved, attracting the only salve that will soothe the divine discontent of your truth-speaking heart, that of divine presence, absolute and unquestionable. There is a sense within you, perhaps quite obvious to your conscious mind, or perhaps only dimly registered as an unnameable, underlying sense of anxiety, that something in your life is not quite right. It may be the sense, even amongst so much gratitude, of a yearning yet to be met, a longing yet to be fulfilled and satisfied. This is the pain of the awakening heart. That heart is capable of bliss and ecstatic reverence for the sheer beauty and wonder of creation. Yet as the heart matures, there will be a process of deep passionate longing that awakens for the divine. It is the impatience for the caress of the great lover, for the presence of the divine to come to you. Over time, that longing will grow from a mild inner sense of incompleteness, needing to become whole. It will develop into a holy fever, a sacred rage, a stamping of dancing feet, a pounding of fists upon the altar, and a longing so deep and distressing that one may well break into tears at the possibility of bearing the pain of apparent separation for even a moment longer. Where is my beloved? Cries the awakening heart. I call for my beloved, and yet I am here, still waiting. I can stand this no longer. As devotion grows and passion for the divine intensifies, so too does this yearning, so much so that this may come to feel as though your heart is breaking for the divine, or perhaps you are not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller gods, such as your status, your job, your lover, your body looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in a particular way. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue, yet you have drawn this oracle, and so it is guidance for you that the divine wants to draw you closer. Sometimes that means we will have the meagre meal wrestled from our hand, so we may feast upon something far more delectable and grand. Where's this table here that she's prepared, that she's got prepared? Okay. The divine is a fiercely possessive lover. If there is a face of another beloved preventing you from longing for the divine embrace, and if you cannot see that it is the divine beloved within your lover that you are loving, well then, something will be done by heaven. So make your relationships sacrosanct, seek the divine in all things. When you cannot, When the power of lesser gods has you in its grip, acknowledge it, bear witness to it, do not chastise, instead be truthful. Let your heart break and lie prostrate on the floor, hands clutching and head bowed, as though only your sadness and plight could stir the heart of the divine beloved into descent of secure and grace, saving you from a life far too bland for your exquisite Epicurean palate. Just don't misinterpret the pain and think that something really is wrong. If you are surrounded by status and money and cannot understand why you should mourn, it is even more important that you allow yourself to do so. Mourning is to be felt, understanding is not so relevant. But if you must seek understanding, then know this, dear blazing angel. You are just waking from the deepest slumber, and with your awakening heart you are realizing a truth, a part of you deeper and wider, vaster and more instinctive, truthful and intelligent than your mind, is lonely for the divine embrace. This is right, this is sensible, this is sanity. It is the pain, the real noble pain of the heart that says there is something more than this inadequacy, this settling for plastic instead of precious gemstones that must end now. I cannot be fed by pixelated sunsets in animation upon my computer screen. I yearn to be blasted by so much radiance and beauty, by the real thing, that I become stupefied. I must witness so much divine splendour that all I can mutter is some incoherent grunt, my mind dissembled and my heart ignited by the presence of my beloved. I want to become a fumbling, ecstatic wreck in the presence of my beloved. I want to allow this pain, this yearning, this divine discontent to guide me to my holy lover, so my life may never be the same again. And so it shall be. The discontent divine grown within you is the beginning, not the destiny. Its purpose is to lead you into your greatest connection yet with divinity. Do not resist it. Witness it. Do not dismiss it, trying to cover up its smell with rose petals. Let your rank discontent be the pathway to divinity. Look beyond what is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated, and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. Don't be scared, for you are my sidekick on this great holy adventure. I am here, you see, just around the corner. I have you in my sights, though you may not see me yet. I am holding a loaf of fresh bread, hot from the kitchen of the Creator, hoping to entice you with its wafting scent, tempting you to follow me on towards something of far more substance. If you are still stuck on pine-scented air fresheners, imagine it is anything akin to the wild scent of pine forest for real, then how can I tempt you? Let the stench be the stench, then the fragrance of God can be discerned, and together we can leave what is less behind, once and for all, grabbing like hungry schoolchildren for the divine bread with sweet, fresh scent filling the air. Let's do this sacred honouring ritual. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly and say the following aloud. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, guide me now. I acknowledge the gratitude in my heart, genuine and fierce, and I acknowledge the hunger for the divine unfolding in my belly and urging forward towards some unknown, indescribable sacred satiety. Guide me to the holy table where the true feast awaits. I am no longer satisfied by stale crumbs or the remnants of another's feast. I want to feast with the Holy One, the Great One, to know directly and for myself that I am divine. With your mercy, grace and wisdom, guide me there, dearest brother of my soul. I cast my soul into your care and follow my nose. I follow my nose towards the sweetest scent of the holy feast. Rest or stand up and dance your prayer. Just be with your body and how it wants to be, to rest or move now. Whatever you choose, stay with your breath and wish what feels truthful. Say aloud, I realise that which is not worthy for my soul to feast upon. I realise. Well, and then we can release it. So say, I release that which is not worthy for my soul to feast upon. I do not decide this for myself from a place of distrust or judgment. I surrender my attachment and I trust in the sacred workings of life to present to me what is needed. I surrender in sacred trust. I surrender. May my life be governed by love for the greatest good and in holy service to love now. So be it. You have finished your sacred honouring ritual. That was a really beautiful message today. I don't want it to be over. I don't want it to be over. The never-ending story. Woo! It's a little bit nippy. Okay. Well, let's get, what would you like to get? A Journey of Love. Look, we can get another Journey of Love card. 41 minutes, 47 seconds. Okay. One more message. For today. Well, you can receive your own messages, so one more message from me, through me. Three to one, card number 10. There is a heavenly child in your midst. It may be within your heart, in your womb, or a glimmer in your eye, soon to be. This child holds the key to the fulfillment of a process that is happening for you now. The child might be a physical culmination of your marriage or commitment to another. It might be a symbolic birthing. Or I'm just giggling because we come back to the children, haven't we? I can go and get a book. It may not tell us about the children, but let me carry on and read this message. Oh, seriously. The child might be a physical culmination of your marriage or commitment to another. It might be a symbolic birthing of a new self after a time of learning to bring male energies of protection and discernment together with female energies of feeling and creativity, whether within yourself or in your relationship with another. The child might symbolically be a new life, an improved relationship, a book, a new job, a completely renewed way of dealing with what was once a challenging issue and so soon will not be an issue for you anymore, just to name some examples. From masculine to feminine to child, there is now just one, a new reality dawning with grace. This oracle holds message. This oracle holds a message for you. New life is upon you now. You are being reborn and you will give birth to what is meant for you this lifetime. There is no need to worry. Just pray with an open heart that you may be supported to fulfill your destiny. You already are, of course, but prayer can help you realise it. The rest is in the loving and capable hands of the divine. Okay, poem. Love is what makes the heart beat faster, the lump in my throat, the feeling of missing you so much that I can't wait to be with you again. And then we are, and I look in your eyes deeper, and I know the unspoken words that say I love you, and feel words in return. How short each lifetime seems, but what I feel with you lasts forever. May love be the compass that guides you on the course of a lifetime. to the course of a lifetime. Okay, I was thinking about that feast. Okay, perfect book. Don't die if your music's still in you. Written by Serena Dyer, and her dad gives us his input as well. Okay, do I want to, let's go to page number 10 if we can. I was just taken to that. Okay, the career dilemma. Page number 10. Okay, we need to read from the top part though. We'll read all of page number 10. It ends, well it starts, but ends with a sentence of something. Okay, full stop. The mantra of God and the mantra of our higher selves is, how may I serve? I heard my parents say this frequently, but I never really believed them until I tried it for myself. The irony is that once I really started to practice serving others, all the things I thought I needed in life just started to show up. When I was focused on acquiring more, I always felt lacking. When I shifted my focus towards how I could serve, the money, health, and relationships I had been looking for all just started appearing in my life. If you would like more love in your life, then I suggest you begin to offer love to people in your life that may really need a little extra of it. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It is that simple. Elbow just kind of slipped then. It is that simple. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It is that simple. When you shift your focus to how you may serve, the universe shifts its focus to how it may serve you as well. And when you are true to yourself, the universe will continue to support you on your path. The career dilemma. When I was a child, Mum and Dad continually encouraged me to follow the notes of my own music. I was never criticised, even if I went after something and then abandoned it later. There were many ideas that I tried out for a while and then left behind. Yet I never felt like a failure for wanting to try something new. My parents actually encouraged me to try everything. If it didn't work out, that was okay. Dad would remind me to trust that I would eventually find my own path. He said as long as I remained passionate about what I was doing, I was moving in the right direction. When I was 22, my best friend Lauren and I decided to create a television show based on our mutual love of cooking and entertaining. We came up with recipes, had a great idea for a show, and then hired a film crew to film a pilot. The idea was that we'd pitch it to the Food Network or something like that. My dad wrote me a note that I carry around with me to this day. Okay. It says, be realistic, expect miracles, and then it has Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, so it's like a notepad piece of paper. And the message says, Serena, my love, I believe in your show. It will work. Hold the vision. This is an investment in you and your passion. I love you, Dad. So it says, Serena, my love, underlined. How beautiful is that? I believe in your show. It will work. Hold the vision. There is an investment in you and your passion. Or this is an investment in you and your passion. I love you, Dad. In case you can't read it, the note says, Serena, my love, I believe in your show. It will work. Hold the vision. This is an investment in you and your passion. I love you, Dad. After a few months of trying to get the pilot off the ground, nothing was coming to fruition. Lauren and I both recognised that we really didn't want to do a cooking show and had just been going with the momentum of having a new idea we liked. Even though I let go of the show, excuse me, even though I let go of the show, I saved the note my dad had given me. I knew what he'd written applied to anything I tried in my life. It wasn't just about the TV show idea. It related to any project or plan I would ever undertake. He believed in me. It was as simple as that. He was proud of me no matter what. My parents' support of me has continued to carry me closer to my music. I really do apologise, I've got like a real tickly throat. In my early 20s, I tried out several different careers. I considered becoming a professor, a chef and an actor. None of them quite fit. The only thing I knew for sure was that I liked having an audience and working with people. So I decided I would become a lawyer. I have always been a bit on the dramatic side and I love telling stories. Couple that with the fact that I do well in school, and I decided that I'll come up with a great idea. 3 weeks into law school, I knew I had made a huge mistake. I'd been miserable from day one. I would sit in the parking lot before class in tears. It wasn't about the work, as I already had a master's degree and knew what hard work was all about. It was that I was beginning to understand what it actually meant to be a lawyer. It meant a lot of paperwork and a lot of detail, neither of which I was particularly good at. I also knew I did not want to be personally responsible for someone else's settlement, divorce, conviction, or acquittal. I realised the job was just not for me. Yet I felt ashamed of the thought of quitting. So I told myself I was going to stick it out for the next 3 years because quitting was worse than having a job you hate. Now that's a piece of advice I wouldn't give my worst enemy. Okay. So let's repeat that. Yet I felt ashamed of the thought of quitting, so I told myself I was going to stick it out for the next 3 years because quitting was worse than having a job you hate. Now that's a piece of advice I wouldn't give my worst enemy. I kept going for a few more weeks, then not surprisingly, I got physically ill. I came down with pneumonia and had to stay home from class. I will never forget Dad calling and asking me if I thought that maybe I got pneumonia because I was doing something every day that I hated. I knew he was right, but I still had too much pride to make a change. My ego was telling me that being sick and hating what you're doing was still better than quitting. So once I recovered, I went right back to school. I never forget the morning I came to my senses. I was sitting in the parking lot getting ready to go into class when it hit me. I don't have to do this. There was no pressure from my family or my peers, no judgment about my decision one way or the other. The only person pressuring me was me. I text messaged my dad right then. I was still feeling ashamed, so I asked him what he would think of me if I quit. His response was such a relief. I am proud of you no matter what you're doing, he wrote. If you are unhappy and getting sick over it, then leave. You will find your path, Serena. Stop worrying. I love you. Reading this and talking to my mum later, I felt safe to follow my heart. I knew they were proud of me no matter. So no such thing as failure. My dad used to say that some people live their entire lives pretending to be something they're not, or pretending to love something they don't, only to wake up one day and realise that they haven't really lived. This reminds me of the book The Death of Ivan Illich by Leo Tolstoy. As Ivan is dying, he asks himself, what if my whole life has been wrong? When I read that, I remember thinking that no matter what, I wasn't going to choose that fate. I had been taught to listen to my own calling, to ignore what anyone else said, and to follow my own music. And yet I tried to convince myself to stay in law school out of fear of being criticised, when I myself was my own greatest critic. Eventually I realised I would never be at peace if I didn't follow my own heart. I knew I was doing what looked right rather than what felt right. I had to look at myself in the mirror each night, knowing I was abandoning myself. Slowly, I began to understand that it wasn't about what other people would think. What was important was what I thought. Dad had often talked about how in his personal life, great transformation has usually been preceded by a great fall. To that end, it was only after he forgave his alcoholic father for abandoning him when he was able to write Your Erroneous Zones, which has sold over 70 million copies worldwide to date. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books, said that rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. It was only when she got to rock bottom that she was able to make her way back up, and look how far she's come. My husband Matt is a successful businessman who prides himself on his number of failures. This may sound odd, but as he puts it, you can't put a price tag on those failures because of the valuable lessons they taught me. Matt says that whenever he enters into a somewhat risky business deal, he remains unattached to how it will turn out. He knows that, successful or not, the deal will give him experience, so he'll gain something either way. I now view the rejections of my own inner calling in the same light. I can't put a price tag on how valuable those lessons were for me, because if I hadn't rejected myself and ignored my own inner voice in so many different ways, I may still be doing it today. It seems to me that fear is what stops most of us from playing our own music. It was definitely true for me. I was afraid of letting people down, of what other people might think of me, of what I would do if I left law school and how that would look. Perhaps you're afraid that if you make a change, you'll let people down. But take the risk and see what happens. You may let people down and you may not. You'll probably be pleasantly surprised by how it all turns out. According to A Course in Miracles, there are only two basic emotions, fear and love. When you decide to play your own music, you are acting out of love for yourself and your own unique path. I know that when I'm living from love rather than fear, I never fail. I was raised to understand that failure is an illusion anyway. No one fails at anything. Everything you or anyone else does produces a result. Dad sometimes uses the analogy of playing catch. If he throws a ball to me and I drop it, I didn't fail, I just produced an unexpected result. Dad taught me that failure is just a judgment, and it is a judgment based in fear. The real question, he would say, is what do you do with the result? Do you complain about not being able to catch the ball? Or do you see it as a learning experience saying, throw it again until you succeed? My sister Tracy is a great example of what I'm talking about here. Tracy was in her 30s and working as an executive for Best Buy, a large electronics retail corporation in Minneapolis. And although she was very successful, she didn't feel fulfilled. She decided to follow Dad's advice and left her position to pursue her real passion, which is designing purses. My sister went from working at a corporation and having insurance, benefits, and a retirement plan to being totally on her own, having to figure out how to get her bags made and sold around the country. Although there were bumps in the road, Tracy now sells handbags that use recycled water bottles in the manufacturing process. What's more, she managed to combine her understanding of technology from working at her former position at Best Buy with her love of design. Now she has an amazing and successful line of purses called Urban Junket that you can actually charge your phone or computer. My sister had to face her fear of failure and take a leap of faith, but because she was willing to take the risk, she's now doing what she's always dreamed about. When we let ourselves be guided by love, love for ourselves, love for others, and love for what we do, fear cannot survive. As the poet Rudyard Kipling once wrote, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. Triumph and disaster are impostors. They are not real. They exist only in your mind. Fear is the same. Think of how many things you may have feared as a child that now seem silly. To be afraid of following your dreams may seem just as funny to you once you have faced it. Just think how great it would be to be doing what you love and to look back and think how silly it was to be so fearful. I know that's how I feel about leaving law school. Looking back, I can't believe I'd allow myself to get so sick over it. Instead, I've discovered a whole new and better world by finding and following my Dharma. Wow. This is some good guidance here. We're just over an hour. Okay, we're going to finish this chapter. Finding your own Dharma. Shortly after leaving law school, I attended a 3-day conference in Maui that my dad was putting on. Sitting in the audience, I kept contemplating the idea of my own Dharma. What was it that I really wanted to do with my life? While sitting there, I was struck with the idea that I wanted to bring the message I was raised on to people my own age. I wanted to help those who were struggling to find their place in the world, just as I had been. I asked Dad how he felt about my writing a book based on his work, and he thought it was a great idea. Shortly after that, I called Reed Tracy, the CEO of Hay House, and pitched the idea to him. Reed thought it sounded great too. I started to feel like I was really moving on my correct path. The universe kept sending me, "You go, girl," signals that let me know I was heading in the right direction. Now I can say that writing this book has been one of the most important and fulfilling experiences of my life. Today I am writing and speaking and moving in the direction that feels most natural and peaceful to me. I am doing it all with confidence. The truth is, it's not where you are, it's the direction you're heading in. As a Turkish proverb says, no matter how far you have gone on a wrong road, turn back. For me, law school was the wrong road, but by following my heart, I was able to turn around, and all it took was to trust that it would all work out. Now I know that's not as easy as it sounds. Believe me, there were many nights when I would lie awake, worried about what I was going to do with my life. My ego was definitely bruised, especially when I had to tell people that I was leaving, but I let that go as well. Parts of me still believed that my image was everything, and if I wasn't doing something, I was a failure. I finally realised that it doesn't matter what you are or aren't doing. It only matters whether you're moving in the direction that feels right to you, regardless of what others might think. There's something I heard my father say too many times to count. You will never regret what you do in life. You will only regret what you don't do. Everything I have ever done has taught me something, whether it worked out or not. Sometimes the takeaway is simply knowing what I don't want. So if there's one piece of advice I'd give you, it's to notice whether you are moving toward or away from what excites you. If you're repeating the same bad habits and continuing to let yourself down by being unwilling to make a shift or change, then you're moving away from what excites you. On the other hand, if you're willing to let go of what you know is harmful for you and willing to change your beliefs about yourself in order to get what you want in life, then you'll be moving towards what excites you. If you pay attention and let yourself be guided by your intuition, you won't have to worry about dying with your music inside of you. The courage to change. In the past few years, my mum has injured herself more than she has in all the other years of her life combined. She has broken her collarbone, cheekbone and foot. has had pins and needles put in her elbow and shoulder after falling headfirst down a spiral staircase, and most recently suffered a third-degree burn on her wrist. My parents are no longer together, more on that later, but they are still very close friends who speak every day. So Dad asked Mum if she thought there might be an emotional component to all of her injuries. At first she was defensive and said of course not. She was just getting older and had some early onset osteoporosis due to having so many children. Shortly after this, my mum and I were making dinner alone together before the rest of the family arrived for the meal. She told me that what Dad had said about her injuries really bothered her, but she couldn't stop thinking about it. She went on to say that she felt really stuck in her life at this time, and it was as if she was standing on the edge of a road that had two paths. One path was starting a new life for herself. Serving her own highest calling now that her children had grown and were out of the house. The other path was one of getting older and possibly getting sick and leaving this planet. Mum has been a mother for the past 41 years and has been incredibly devoted, loving and nurturing in the process. Her whole life has been wrapped up in raising her children, and now that she wasn't doing that so much anymore, she felt that she had other work that needed to be done and couldn't ignore it any longer. She explained that she felt an inner calling to write and teach about childbirth and raising children in a natural way, but she'd always been afraid of doing that work because she didn't feel worthy of it. Hearing her tell me this, I was so astonished. Mum is the most worthy woman in the world of teaching about motherhood and childbirth, and yet she doubted her own true calling. She believed in me my entire life and encouraged me to do anything and everything I could dream of, but she didn't feel deserving of the very things she's always offered me. The funny thing was that I could relate to not feeling worthy of honouring real dreams and instead choosing to do something else or nothing entirely. So many of us appear to have it all together, but inside we are rejecting our true desires on a massive level. I knew that my mother had started writing a book on childbirth, and her dream was to finish it and to start to teach and lecture on the subject matter. Since I'd just finished working on my own book with a wonderful editor, Kelly Notoris, I told Mum that whatever she had written up until that point was enough. She needed to email Kelly right then and there and set up a time to talk so they could begin to work together. My mum was really hesitant and said that she needed more time. I put down the food I was preparing and I looked her in the eye and said that I needed her to finish her book and begin doing the work she felt called to do because I needed her to live. With tears in her eyes, she said okay and walked over to our iPad. She sent Kelly an email that said she was sick of my own excuses and was ready to leave her fear behind. In her, I could recognise the very thing I felt in myself when I'd made a similar decision years before in my life. Mum was so emotional about it because she made the choice to honour her calling, her passion, her dream, and in doing so, she was flooded with relief and pride. I don't know if I have ever been more proud of her, because I know what a challenge that can be. We went back to cooking and I noticed that my mum kept checking her iPad to see if she had had any new emails. About an hour later, she exclaimed, she wrote back. Mum then read Kelly's email out loud to me, which basically said that she'd be happy to work with my mother on her book, and Mum began to cry. She told me that she felt proud of herself, really proud of herself, and she felt so much relief just by sending that first email. Making the choice not to die of our music inside of us can be gut-wrenchingly hard, but it is so worth it. I'm going to read Wayne's response. There is a reason that Serena picked the title of this chapter to be the title of her book, but simply there is no greater lesson for us to understand in this journey we call our life. I have persistently emphasised to my children and to myself as well that we come to this earth for a brief parenthesis, just giggle at oneself, in eternity for a reason, and stand aligned with what feels like our purpose is the key to living a fully functional life day in and day out. My children heard me emphasising this point over and over throughout all of their lives. There are no accidents in the universe, and that includes you and all that you are meant to experience and accomplish as well. To me, it is simply the only logical conclusion. If there is intelligence behind life, and there is every reason to believe that there must be, then all of that intelligence is innate in each creation of that intelligence. The source of all life is complete and entire within each of us. All we have to do, I will tell my children and myself, is to discover it for its power and perfection to be yours. Even our most erudite scientific scholars acknowledge the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind that is the matrix of all matter. It matters not what we call this source. All we really need to be assured of is that there is no place that it is not, and therefore it is within us to discover and apply in all the days of our lives. Mark Twain described the significance of this awareness in this way: the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So Serena writes passionately in this chapter about this idea, reminding us that no one can find their purpose by attempting to be just like everybody else, or to attempt to live out someone else's idea of what that purpose ought to be. I have always taught that the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. This means learning to tame the demands of the ego and to listen to a new inner mantra that quietly reminds us to focus on how may I serve, as opposed to what's in it for me. I spoke frequently to all of my children about the importance of trusting their own intuition, which is really the voice of God, nudging them in the direction of their own highest aspirations. I would remind them that when they completely trusted in themselves, with no fear of failing or outside judgments, they were actually trusting in the very wisdom that created them. I would remind Serena frequently that all she had to do was to be herself, which is a divine creation, and that what others thought of her was really none of her business. You came here with your own music to play, I would tell her over and over, and you only have a short time here to fulfill your own unique dharma. No one can do it for you, and it is impossible for you to fail at being yourself. I love the sound of the words "don't die with your music still in you." It is such a powerful reminder that we all came here with some kind of music to play. It has to be true in a universe that is guided and directed by an invisible supreme intelligence at the helm. This was a message that all my children heard frequently. I have often used these words of the great poet Khalil Gibran from his timeless tome, The Prophet. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you, and though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. I learned to understand and apply the significance of this message. My children all came here to play their own music, and I did not want to be a person who would stifle or silence that urge with them, simply because I happen to be their father. Serena's stories in this chapter reflect the value that my wife, Marceline, and I placed on allowing our children to fulfill their own callings. Both Marcy and I knew very early on that our role was to unpretentiously guide them. guide, then step aside. No one could be more proud of Serena and all her siblings than her parents. We know the mighty truth hidden in the title of this chapter and this book itself. We do not want to have our sons and daughters arrive at the end of their lives and utter those infamous words of Ivan Illich. What if my whole life has been wrong? Let's leave it there. I'm getting tired of reading now. Okay, right guys, I will catch up with you all soon. So until then, take care. Have a fantastic day. Much love. Bye for now.